I think in the 20th century we have come to value innovation as the hallmark of genius, of forward movement. You always have to be doing something new and something, that has never been done before. And I think I wanted to establish the idea that maybe you can do something that's new, that really is genuinely new, by simply using things that have been done. Because one of the things that's interesting about the 20th century, when I do my 20th century history course at the New School, is once you get to the end of all the things that have been done in terms of innovation, one of the most unkind assignments I can give to my students is go and write a piece using a technique that no one has thought of. It's really damned difficult to come up with something, right? So what do you do that's innovative at the end of a century, where innovation per se has been one of the focal points of development? It's a different kind of problem, right?
What a fool I was to fear getting old. I've never felt so terribly cold, so cold. Should I feel so cold? Look at this moon of all that I knew. Not one of those things turns out to be true. All of it gone. I have not one thing, especially not this beautiful ring. This
All my composition teachers except for Milton Babbitt, yes. Yes. So sooner or later they'd say this is wonderful and this and that, but for next class or next lesson, would you be interested in bringing in something along the lines of, and the along the lines of was typically what they'd been doing. And so that's why I got, Milton was my favorite teacher by far, because I would bring him, say, a piano trio, and we'd sit down and he'd say, that transition from the first theme to the second theme when you're moving from C to, say, G flat, do you think that transition is long enough given the harmonic terrain you're trying to traverse? And we'd sit and talk about that. It was absolute heaven, it really was. He helped me to think about my music on its own terms. And that's the best thing a composition teacher can do, is to help, insofar as possible, each composer develop his or her own individual voice. And you can only do that by working on the thing that they are trying to produce and working on making that better. One of the interesting things to me now is that the popular music that we've been listening to for the last 20, 30 years is this constant amalgam of both what we would call tonal music and modal music, right? So half the songs do have leading tones, half of them don't. They just have flat, right? And I think for listeners today, they're equivalent in a way that they weren't equivalent to me when I was a child, right? I could really hear tonality and tonal music and blues-derived rock and roll as somehow, or Eastern European folk music, all that kind of thing, as really somehow distinct. And I think they're no longer distinct to modern ears, to contemporary ears. And that speaks to your point that the reference points are very, very different today. And in that sense, more open and more engaged. But tonality still persists. And there is something about those damn triads and the fifths that's hard to get rid of that stuff, as being somehow elementally pleasurable. And I think elementally pleasurable and intelligent should not be opposites. I think they can be combined in really innovative and interesting ways.